In today's News Ellie video, learn the latest news surrounding Todd Boehly and his plans for the club this summer once he officially takes over. I'll be talking about Marina and Bruce Buck's future. I'll be talking about Boehly and Tuchel's plans for the summer as well too, as well as news surrounding Marcos Alonso and Lukaku and Thomas Tuchel. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Smash a like button and of course get involved in the comments too, without wasting no more time. So right now, let's discuss the first story and let's quickly talk about this drama involving Tuchel and Marcos Alonso. I'm sure as you guys know already at this point in time, when Alonso was subbed off against Wolves, there seemed to be an altercation between him and Thomas Tuchel. From what I heard, Alonso called Thomas Tuchel a mother effer in Spanish, and Tuchel just wasn't happy with Alonso's first half performance. I think there was actually some footage showing some of the descent from Tuchel towards Alonso based on some like inaction on the ball in the final third, a bit of like slowness coming back into possession to allowing Wolves to be counter-attacking in behind. Listen, Alonso steps up for the big games, but he does have some complacency that does normally creep into his game as well. So listen, he's not that good where he can never be criticised. But as we've seen with Marcos Alonso time and time again, I guess, and I'm trying to understand the guy's psychology. If he's been undermined in front of his teammates, maybe he like overreacts, maybe he just can't have that, you know, can't be disrespected. I don't really know. But seems like we've missed our only left wing back for the cup final this weekend against Liverpool, which isn't helping our situation. Alonso's unfollowed the club on Instagram. We already know that he has tons of interest from La Liga clubs at this point in time. It's a shame that this happened so soon when the season's ending. We know that Alonso was probably going to leave anyway, regardless. So why not leave on a high, actually, you know, competing in a cup? But I don't know. At the same time, I'm praying that this situation does get resolved, purely because I'm being selfish and I'm thinking about needing to lift the FA Cup this season, because we've lost FA Cup finals too often recently and it can't keep happening anymore now. But you know, it's also normal in like high level sports. You know, it's a very competitive environment as well too, that there's tons of scuffles and incidences and beefs, etc, etc. It's normal, it's standards. I mean, there's so many stories that don't even get released to the press involving you know, altercations like this. I've heard stuff about Rudiger, I've heard stuff about Kepa, I've heard stuff about a few of these guys which I'm not going to be disclosing or trying to snake people out to get some like easy views and stuff like that. That's the point I'm focusing on. The point I'm saying is that it's normal in like a sporting environment for incidences like this to happen. Feels like Alonso took things way too far. If Tuchel has felt like, listen, you're not going to be part of this team. So I guess time will tell. We'll find out what's going to happen eventually in the end. Alonso, man, you got to take this out. You can't be disrespecting the manager like that. No excuses. So right now, let's move on to the next story and let's discuss Thomas Tuchel and Lukaku before we end things on the big part of today's video, which is Todd Boehly, Tuchel, Marina and summer plans. But anyway, focusing on Lukaku, a report came up from The Athletic basically stating that Tuchel still is quite unsure about whether Lukaku has a long-term future in his tactical plans and setup. So before I continue on, let's actually start with where this even began. We know that Lukaku got the brace against Newcastle, very good goals. After the game, Tuchel was supportive, but not as supportive it seems. Originally, he did kind of focus more of the attention on the team performance over the individual performance. However, afterwards, he did talk about the fact that strikers rely upon confidence. It's like one of those positions where confidence is needed the most. And when you take your first goal, you feel even more confident taking your second opportunity, which, of course, you know, in football, there's rules, there's principles. And it's obvious that if you produce enough chances for your striker, they will get that confidence in front of goal. So Tuchel, if you know that, find some tweaks to create better scoring chances for our forward players. But regardless though, as I'm saying, Tuchel is still quite unsure about whether Lukaku has a long-term future here for next season. He's planning to hold talks with Todd Boehly to decide what the plan is going to be for Lukaku. Currently, he has interest from Barca, he has interest from Inter Milan, AC Milan, who've only just held these informal talks to try and get an understanding of whether the player may be interested in leaving them in the summer. Currently though, Lukaku only has plans to remain at the club. However, if him and Tuchel can't find a way to align and come together, then naturally Lukaku will move on and think about his career, which is more important. But still, it's interesting that Tuchel is quite unsure about Lukaku's long-term future. He played a big part during the start of the season in co-signing the arrival of Lukaku. I know there's been some confusion where some people have assumed that maybe the board only kind of forced the signing on Tuchel, but that wasn't the case. The two main forwards that we were looking at was Haaland and Lukaku. Of course, the ball was involved, but Tuchel was also involved in the discussions as well too. So when Haaland couldn't come, everyone was more than happy with Lukaku being the second choice. And at the time, during the start of the season, there was interviews from Tuchel talking about Lukaku and how he felt like he could be like a great thing for the team that the team doesn't have. You know, that platform from the top to bring others into the game, like your Pulisics, your Havertzes, your Werners, etc, etc. And I guess at the time we didn't really think too much of it, but as the season's gone on, we've seen that game plan, that tactical plan just really wasn't that good. It didn't benefit the player as much, and we saw that Tuchel wasn't really too focused on finding tweaks, of course, find a way to get the best out of Lukaku. So for me, I think responsibility definitely has to be taken on the manager as well too, because he co-signed this move and was very excited to be working alongside Lukaku, because for him, a striker was needed to take this team to the next level. Currently instead now, Tuchel prefers using Havertz up front. He likes the mobility that Havertz provides, his ability to bring others into the game, the pressing from the front as well too. And I guess my only question would be, would playing this way forever take Havertz to like a world-class level? I'm unsure, to be fair. But anyway, going back to Lukaku, he did say to Tuchel previously that he felt like, you know, the demands that was expected on him was just too much physically, you know, to be pressing from the front with intensity, you know, finding spaces, etc, etc, when instead he wants to be the one getting on the end of these moves. We saw what he can do against Newcastle when he's lucky enough to get some decent service his way. He has that finishing ability that I don't think anyone at the club does have. It's a shame that we aren't taking full advantage of that, and it's interesting that we could be in another situation where a striker ends up with the most goals scored in a season, and Tuchel just doesn't fancy him. We saw this with Tammy Abraham last season. We're seeing this currently with Lukaku, who has 14 goals scored as well too. We have to see what happens with this one, you guys. I feel like Lukaku could have a future here based on the fact that the finances, you know, teams would have to spend a lot of money to persuade us to sell, and we have to recuperate our finances too. Todd Boehly made suggest, listen, find a way to get the best out of this guy. It doesn't make any sense that he can't use a world-class striker in the team. And I feel that maybe Tuchel should be finding ways now to find those solutions, to be honest. I feel like there's going to be a lot more of this story to come in the future, so I'm going to have all my thoughts and opinions for some future videos, you guys. So right now, we move on to the final big part of today's video, and let's talk Todd Boehly and the club's plans this summer. Now we start with the news that it seems like Marina and Bruce Buck are set to remain at the club for the following season. Now one of the reasons behind why is that they bring a sense of continuity to the team. Of course, they understand the entire club structures at the top. Todd Boehly's just taken over to like get rid of that experience when you're just literally just finding your first steps in the club. Wouldn't be maybe the best business move to make. So currently it seems that Marina and Bruce Buck will be remaining. They did play a big part in persuading Reign to, you know, pick the winner to take over from Roman Abramovich, and they felt like Todd Boehly was their man. So I guess it was only going to make sense that they were destined to remain at the club. It will be interesting to see how Todd Boehly plans to maybe use some of them. I do get the impression that he's going to be a bit hands-on. Could he be involved in negotiations when it comes to contracts and players? Who knows? I guess we'll find out. But you know, it's only makes sense that our two like experienced figures remain at the club, as he's literally just taking over and transitioning to life at Chelsea Football Club. Now I heard that with Marina, of course, during these sanctions, many massive clubs were very interested in trying to entice her away from us. This is like a categoric fact. She is highly respected in the football industry, like really, really respected, which is always a very big positive to hear. And when you have that type of influential figure at your club, to let them just leave that easily just wouldn't make that much sense. So right now, let's move on to Boehly and Thomas Tuchel. Currently, Boehly has assured Thomas Tuchel that he will be backed this summer. There is going to be a ton of money to spend, and as I was saying before, you guys, it's only common sense really. When you have new owners taking over a club, they have to make statements in the window. So expect big moves to be made. Here's where things get quite interesting, because reports are suggesting from The Athletic and The Guardian and others, Matt Law, that Tuchel has asked for 2 centre-backs, another wing-back, another midfield player depending on whether players do leave, and reinforcement up front as well too. So I guess immediately that's telling us that Tuchel is planning on using a back 3 setup again for next season. That'll be quite interesting to see. You guys know my thoughts and opinions, man. I'm ready to see 4-3-3. I want to see more goals. I want to see more guys in the final third. I want to see the attacking players being the ones catered towards, and us getting the best out of them compared to just watching defenders. So, you know, part of me is feeling, man, A lot of times when we sign defenders, we do have experience. We got that sense of continuity at the back already. This summer, we're signing 2 brand new defenders, potentially Levi Cole returning as well too. You've got an aging Thiago Silva that's getting older, and then only just Trevor Chalobah. So it's going to be a very inexperienced backline in that sense. It'll be the first time a lot of them are all playing together. So I don't know, I feel like you've got that continuity in midfield already. It could have been like an easy transition, especially when some of the strikers could do with some better service, man. Just putting it out there. But interesting to see some of the positions being looked for. Without a doubt, left wing back is needed. I'd probably say 2 wing backs to keep things real, you guys. We definitely need that. We need that rotational strength. Next season, teams were all allowed to use 5 subs. Do you know how important that's going to be next season? Look at the players that Liverpool and Man City can turn towards. So, money will have to be spent. I'm expecting it to be spent. And let's just hope this time we get the right signings, because I think for Tuchel in particular, there could be arguments made that he didn't get like 100% of all the control when it comes to signing players. It doesn't even really ever work like that. But next summer, after being backed, if the players he's asking for don't necessarily work, then I guess he would come under further scrutiny and criticism. But that's not the only thing. Todd Boehly immediately wants to secure the long-term futures of players. So that means Reece James, Mason Mount are priorities. That means Edouard Mendy, he deserves a pay rise as well too, as well as many other players, of course, getting deals. And one of the great things about Todd Boehly is that with this baseball franchise, the LA Dodgers, I mean, this is why I had so much faith in this guy to begin with. He understands that you have to spend money to make money. They bought a player called Mookie Betts for like $227 million. He's on like a 12-year deal, crazy. He will spend money in the right positions in the right areas, and they have actually, I think, the highest wage bill when it comes to baseball as well too. So, and for me, securing the long-term futures of players is desperately needed. There was reports before about how Mount and Reece James was getting a lot of interest from like big powerhouses in Europe, and normally in football, basically, if clubs find out that you have 2 years left in your contract, normally teams wait to buy players when they have 2 years left in their deal, because that's when it's like economically feasible and not much more affordable to buy a player then. So a lot of times, if players low-key aren't signing new contract extensions or delaying things and they get to 2 years, sometimes it may be hinting at the market like, listen, my future is in doubt. If you come with a big offer and it sounds good, I could be out of here. So that was literally the logic behind how that worked previously though. But I just think that it's nice to know that Todd Boehly, of course, has the experience of really supporting teams, managers. He understands how to build. I mean, this is a guy that developed the entire infrastructure at the LA Dodgers from the financial side, development side, the first team as well too, and they've been winning like crazy ever since. So it's going to be very exciting, and I'm not going to lie, I'm going to be scrutinizing this window like crazy. I need to see us getting the right players coming here. I need to see us building a team for the future with a set idea, because before, I understand why Tuchel used a back 3 setup. You got to get the best out of the players that's already at your disposal. But when you have more power and control from next season going onwards, I'm going to be paying even more attention now to the decisions being made, and I'm sure we're going to do the same thing, you guys. So on that note, that's some of the news that's coming out today. Expect there to be some big videos coming out this week, you guys. Now that I got my new haircut, it's time to start banging it out. I've got a lot of stuff planned, so I hope you guys are definitely going to enjoy it. So on that note, I'm going to wrap things up, keep things moving. Share your thoughts and opinions in the comments. Tell me what centre-backs, wing-back, mids and striker you want to see for next season. So on that note, I'm in EFC, this is Blue Lions TV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos.